Welcome today inside Platte Arena, where we bring you a special presentation of Forester basketball. It is the 6th annual Pink Out Game for breast cancer awareness as your Lady Foresters take on the Lady Maple Leafs of Goshen College. I'm Eric Banton alongside Caleb Overfelt. And Caleb, this is a special event today. We honor the survivors of breast cancer.
Yeah, always a good time whenever this comes around. Many breast cancer survivors here with us today. We will be honoring them. Great to have them in attendance, and if any of you guys are at home watching as well, just really appreciate what you guys have been through, and we're here to honor you today.
And we want to thank our community sponsors for this event. We have Beacon Credit Union, Sodexo, Huntington University Student Life, Huntington University Student Senate, Coaches Connection, and Town and Country Flowers. We thank you for sponsoring today's event. It should be a great game today, Caleb, as the Foresters are looking to try and avenge a tough loss on the road to Goshen, and it's their only conference win for the Maple Leafs this season.
Yeah, Maple Leafs have really been struggling, but they really seem to have Huntington's number, played a really tight game with them the last time they met, eking away with a victory just by 1 point over these Foresters, and like you mentioned, the Foresters are going to be trying to get revenge today.
Foresters in that game went into the locker room down 8. They almost pulled off the comeback, but again, as you mentioned, fell just 1 point short. Let's go ahead and take a look at the conference standings in the Crossroads League now. Another big development is that the Foresters are now in sole possession of the number 2 spot in the Crossroads League behind St. Francis by 3 games, who are still undefeated at 25-0 overall in the season. Now, these standings, Caleb, do have the end-of-season tiebreakers factored in. That is why Grace right now is ahead of Indiana Wesleyan and why Taylor is ahead of Spring Arbor because of the head-to-head matchup they had earlier this season. Grace and Taylor winning those respective games.
Yeah, and as we can see, it's very tight across this league. St. Francis with a bit of a cushion out in first place, but there's still a few games left in this season. Things can change if things go south for them. And then again, Huntington and then Grace and Indiana Wesleyan tied in third position right now. And as you mentioned, Grace has that tiebreaker right now, but just one game between those two schools in Huntington, so anything can happen. So really, in these last waning weeks of the Crossroads League, there's going to be a lot of mixing up, I think, and it's going to be important for Huntington to win every game if they want to maintain this second place.
Also, the race for the 8th and final spot in the Crossroads League tournament is heating up. Mount Vernon just a game back of both Spring Arbor and Taylor to try and just squeak in.
Yeah, and I wouldn't count Mount Vernon out. They've really showed some toughness this season, played really well with some good teams, and I think that they might be able to crawl back into it. I actually think it's pretty likely.
Let's take a look now around the league. More games happening today, all of them scheduled for a 1 p.m. tip time. Marion will host the Pilots of Bethel. Spring Arbor hosts Taylor. Indiana Wesleyan traveling to Mount Vernon. And then St. Francis will be visiting Grace this afternoon. That Grace-St. Francis game could be a very interesting one. Yeah,
it could. And also the Marion-Bethel game I think will be very interesting to watch as well. Both of those teams kind of in the middle of the pack, and I think that might be a fun one to watch.
And the Spring Arbor-Taylor game could very well create some separation there and toward the bottom spots to qualify for the Crossroads League tournament.
Yeah, anytime you get this far into the season, every game's got a lot of weight to it, so all these teams are going to be wanting to secure their spots or try to get into that Crossroads League tournament, so it's going to be a big day today for women's basketball.
Be sure to follow our games on Twitter as well. For our men's games, follow at HU Hoops, and for women's games like today, follow at HU_sports. And we want to send a thank you to our social media correspondent, Victor McCarty, and our men's team traveling to Goshen today, trying to get a rebound win after a tough loss on the road to IWU earlier this week.
Yep, we'll be wishing them luck as the ladies come out onto the floor, and really just an exciting game of basketball really for the men and women's team today, trying to finish strong in this Crossroads League.
And really, Caleb, for the Lady Foresters, they kind of control their own destiny now toward the end of the regular season. After today, there will be only 4 games remaining. They will have to play 3 of those 4 on the road. Their last home game will be against St. Francis, and that will be quite the matchup here inside Platte Arena.
A very tough stretch, as you mentioned. Got to go at Bethel, at Grace, very tough places to play basketball. And then, again, the remaining home game after this Goshen game will be against the number 1 team in the country right now at St. Francis. So a very tough stretch, but as you mentioned, they are in control of their own destiny right now. Just have to keep winning games and they can secure that second place spot, and if the cards play out right, they may even get up to first.
And that would be some kind of finish for the Foresters, and really a season where I don't think many people in the league expect them to be doing this well at this point in the season.
Yeah, I think that's very true. They started off a little bit slow, couple losses. They went 1-3 in their first. 1-2 in their first 3 games, and then really since then have just really turned their season around. Had a couple tough losses down the stretch, but really I think are playing just as a much better team. They've had a lot of players step up. I'm thinking particularly of Miranda Palmer, just really having an outbreak year. Only a freshman, and I think she's going to be huge later on.
Foresters have won their last 6 of 7, and then still even further, they've won 14 of their last 17 games, and they're 10-3 in the conference, 3 games out of first place. But in Crossroads League play, their defense has been getting it done. Only 59 points allowed per game in the Crossroads League.
Yeah, when you compare that to Goshen's defense, they're allowing 83.9 points per game,
wow,
which is, if it's not the top in the Crossroads League, that's got to be up there. So really, 2 very different teams as far as defense goes, so it's going to be very interesting to see. We mentioned that Goshen did have Huntington's number early on, held them only to 49 points on the game. So, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong game there. It was 63 points, but still very low scoring half, and I think that Goshen really has a way to be able to stop Huntington, so we'll see how it goes.
Goshen has lost 8 of their last 9, but that one win is against the Foresters, and it is their lone conference win as well. For the Foresters, they're coming off of a big win against Indiana Wesleyan at home, splitting the season series with the Wildcats, and that was their first win, Caleb, in 10 meetings with IWU.
Yeah, and the implications were big. They were able to pull one game away from Indiana Wesleyan. They were able to split the series with them this season in the Crossroads League. Just a very big win. I think a huge confidence booster, and they can carry that momentum into that difficult stretch that we mentioned that they have to close out this season.
And in the second wave of conference play, Caleb, the Foresters are 4-0. Goshen is 0-4.
Yeah, so really, again, I mentioned the Huntington team right now, just really strong so far in this second half of league play, and really just a completely different team than they were earlier this season.
Quickly, some keys to today's game. Of course, Caleb, the Foresters in their last matchup with Goshen got out, rebounded 40-33. Crashing the boards is going to be important, like we saw in that IWU game this past Wednesday night.
Yeah, something I really looking at right now is Goshen were able to pull down 5 more offensive rebounds than Huntington was, and those offensive rebounds, as we've seen, have been key for this Lady Foresters team, kind of a big breaking point as whether they come away with a win or if they fight a loss. So they're going to have to be pulling down those offensive boards today.
And again, the Foresters had a tough time controlling the ball. They had 15 turnovers, but Goshen had 17 of their own. However, free throws kind of became the difference. We'll go ahead and take a break with just about a minute before the prayer national anthem. You're on Forester Live on YouTube and 105.5 WQHU Fuse FM.
Huntington University welcomes all players, officials, and spectators to today's contest between the Maple Leafs of Goshen College and your Huntington University Foresters. As a member of the NEI and the Crossroads League, we are committed to the true spirit of competition as champions of character, embracing 5 core values: respect, integrity, responsibility, servant leadership, and sportsmanship. We ask that each of you as a participant, official, or spectator to abide by these values, and more specifically, ask that profanity not be used during the contest. Together we can create a positive, competitive environment in which our athletes may participate, our officials may work, and you, the spectator, may enjoy. Just a reminder that tobacco use is not permitted on the Huntington University campus. At this time, we'd like to draw your attention to the scorer's table for a special presentation. On Wednesday night, head coach Lori Culler reached a milestone in her collegiate career. The Foresters upset 7th-ranked Indiana Wesleyan 51-49 to give Coach Culler her 500th victory. In recognition of her achievement, President Cheryl Hamilton would like to present Lori with a plaque. Congratulations, Coach Culler, for 500 victories at Huntington University. now, ladies and gentlemen, time for the announcement of we're going to have our invocation, and then we have our national anthem. Please pray with me. Father God, we thank you for this day and for the safe travel for everyone who has been here. Lord, we also ask for your hand of safety upon those as travel home, both spectators and for the players. Father, we thank you for the skills and gifts that you've given each of these players, and pray that today would be a day for safe activity and also chances to celebrate the skills and talents that you have blessed us. We pray that sportsmanship would reign, and that all will be done to your glory. We ask these things in your precious name. Please remain standing for our national anthem to be sung by Cynthia Clore.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and the bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Cynthia.
Back inside Platt Arena for the start of the 6th annual Pink Out game as the Forcers take on the Maple Leafs. Follow our games on Twitter as well. Follow at HU_sports for women's games, and for men's games, follow at HU Hoops. Let's take a look at our probable starters for today's game. Caleb, starting off with our Foresters.
Well, we're going to be going with this set that they've really started to love here with 3 guards, a forward, and a center. Kelsey Hubble, the sophomore, and Courtney Baker, the junior. Peja Speed, the senior, will be the guards. Amelia Recker will be the lone forward, the sophomore, and Jacqueline Bonema will be in the middle, also as a sophomore.
For Goshen, they will start with 4 guards on the floor and 1 forward. They'll have Avery Bischoff, number 35, Tyra Carver, number 23, Linnea Noel, and then Liz Tecca rounds out the guard portion of the lineup. Jomani Thomas, the lone forward, the sophomore for the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, notice a very young lineup, 3 sophomores, a freshman, and a junior. There's no seniors on this Goshen lineup.
Wow.
Very surprising to see.
Very surprising indeed. And again, Goshen has had a very tough year, only 4-20 on the season, but they do have that bragging right win over Huntington, which the Foresters are looking to split here today.
Yeah, they really, some teams just seem to have figured out ways to beat you. I think that it might be a close game today. Just they've played the Foresters, but at the same time, Huntington wants to get that revenge, wants to get that split, and I think they're going to be able to pull it off today.
Just looking at some quick stats before we almost get underway, the Foresters do a great job shooting the ball, 45% overall from the floor. Goshen really struggling, only 38%, and their free throws for the Maple Leafs are not that great either, only 67%, where the Foresters are number 2 in the nation at 78% as a team.
Right, just an excellent shooting team, and really I think we need to mention, as we always do, the Foresters are a very good second half team, so again, I think they're going to be wanting to start off right. They fell behind early in their last meeting, down by 8 points at the half, and I think they're going to want to try to hang in there, try to keep that lead. I think at the very worst, they're going to try to keep the deficit to 5 or less, and then really just come back and shine in the second half, if at all possible. But I think they're going to come out strong, try to play a little bit more atypical for them.
Turnovers are always a big factor in games, Caleb. The Foresters, about a 1-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, where Goshen is almost 1-to-2 with more turnovers than assists.
Yeah, never a good thing. Really, the lowest thing that you're okay with is that 1-to-1 ratio. Maybe you want to even have it higher, but the Foresters, again, doing well, keep taking care of the ball, and we'll see how that factors in today as the jump happens.
Here's the jump. It's up, and it goes to Paige's Speed. She's off and running toward the rim. There's the layup, and it's good. Right off the bat, the Foresters are firing.
Yeah, that was only 4 seconds into the game. That was incredible with Paige's Speed, that tip from Bonema there.
2-0 Foresters with the early advantage over the Maple Leafs. There's the lob into Thomas, number 40 at the high post. She'll look to try and drive on Recker. Bounces off. Ball is loose on the floor. Bischoff corrals it. Number 24 takes a deep shot. No good. Ball tipped up. Thomas, the offensive board, still loose in the lane. And Thomas misses the layup. Got her own offensive rebound and finally laid it in for Goshen.
Yeah, we mentioned those offensive boards, and there's 2 right in that very first possession. The Foresters are going to have to limit those.
We do not have a number 24 on the Goshen roster, so we will go ahead and call her Smith for now. Recker takes a 2. That one in and out, no good. We're offensive board by Kelsey Hubble on the low block. Here's Baker moving off to her right. Hands to Hubble. Hubble looking to drive inside. Instead, bounces out to Speed. Speed continues right. Finds Baker. Foresters content to pass off the ball. 14 on the shot clock. Hubble to Speed. Tough shot in the lane and swirls home.
Well, it certainly looks like Paige's going to be in for a big game. She struggled a little bit against Indiana Wesleyan. The other guard stepped in and really helped fill that spot, but I think she's going to have a big one today.
4-2, Foresters back in front by 1 possession. Thomas will take a long 2, and she splashes it in.
Very interesting decision there to go ahead and take that jump shot with so much time left on the shot clock, but she knew what she was doing and nailed that one.
Baker quickly the other way for the Foresters. She'll back it out to the perimeter and center the ball, move off left, and looks to go backdoor, cannot. Instead enters to Bonema, going inside. Tough shot, nice adjustment by Bonema, but it's no good. And the rebound by Smith. There's the deep pass up to Thomas, almost lost her herself. Tough shot against Bonema, no good. And the rebound, Recker along the baseline, off to Baker, and she is pushing hard. Quickly up to Hubble, nice pass, and the layup by Hubble.
Very excellent pass. Expect nothing less from Baker.
Quickly back on the Maple Leafs. It is number 5 taking the shot. That is Tekka. Thomas gets the board, no good. Another offensive board. She puts up another shot, and she is fouled. It'll be on the floor, and it goes against Amelia Recker, her first.
Well, going back to that last possession where Goshen was driving in, it seemed like there was a lot of contact under the basket, and I don't know if anybody fouled who, but I thought that was a very interesting no call with Jacqueline Bonema knocked to the floor.
Sub for the Maple Leafs, Sophia Sears checks in, number 30 for Goshen. Ball inbound goes to Thomas, lobs it off to number 32, Thorne. She'll put up a nice layup off the glass against Recker. Both teams trading baskets, 6-6. 17:30 to play in the first half. Baker going right to the hoop, and she drives and lays it in.
Very interesting play. We saw Amelia Recker come in, call the screen very obviously on the high side, and I think that was able to, Courtney Baker used that to fake out and drive to the inside and get that easy bucket.
Here's the dish off to Steers. She'll look to try and drive. Stolen by Recker, and the Foresters have numbers. Hubble will go off to Speed. She is up, lays it in.
And 6 points early from Paige's Speed. Like I mentioned, she's really getting involved. Nice job on the fast break by her and Hubble there.
Again, as you mentioned earlier, Caleb, it looks like Paige is going to be the catalyst for the offense, at least in the early minutes for the Foresters, as Thomas works with the basketball. She'll look to try and drive on Recker. Draws the foul on Bonema, and she'll have 2 shots.
You mentioned Paige as the catalyst. That's where she really thrives. That's her role on this team, and it's nice to see her really stepping up and trying to play aggressively on offense. Good things always happen whenever she tries.
Second foul for the team. Thomas's first free throw is good. Thomas, a sophomore forward out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, so not that far up the road. Attending Southside High School. She goes 2 for 2 from the charity stripe. Makes it 10-8, Foresters by 2. And quickly coming is Courtney Baker. Off to Speed in the corner. She'll center it back at the top. Move off right hand to Hubble. Left open for 3, and it's good.
That's a play these Foresters like to run. They like to pass it off onto the height, the top of the key outside and set the high screen allows that extra shot. And it's really easy for them to do.
Tekka shot from the high post is good after a nice screen by Lady Maple Leaf. Makes the score 13-10. Baker quickly coming the other way. She'll go baseline. Trying to back it out and does around the perimeter. Hands to Speed. Speed at the free throw line. Driving in. Kicks it back out to Hubble. Hubble will now give it off to Baker. She's open for two and connects.
And how about these Forster guards today? All three of them just really coming out, guns blazing early on in this game.
15-10. Forsters by 5. 15-53 and counting to go in this first half. Thomas, top of the key, defended by Recker. She'll dish it off on the far side to Bischoff. Back to Tekka at the top. She'll spot up for three. Off to the right, no good. And a deep rebound by Sears. Inside to Thomas. Misses the layup. Got her own miss. Gives it back out. Tekka, the putback, no good. And it is out of bounds off of Thorne.
Yeah, and we mentioned that missed layup, and I think that might have been blocked by Bonema. That was a nice job getting on defense inside.
First media timeout of the half. It's brought to you by the Huntingtonian. 15:31 to play in the first half. Your score 15-10, Foresters on top. And so far, Caleb, as we've said before, the guards have really started off hot for the Foresters today.
Yeah, they've done a nice job. Courtney Baker doing what she does, slashing to the inside, getting those assists that she is so good at finding, just really has an eye for the passing. And then we mentioned Peja Speed and also Kelsey Hubble early on with a big three. And whenever she hits a shot early, that's good news for the rest of this team.
Media timeout brought to you by the Huntingtonian. We are the media. Visit them at huntingtonian.com and follow them on Facebook and Twitter. Our graphics today, shaded slightly pink, looks like a nice look to me, Caleb. Honoring again our breast cancer survivors today in the 6th annual Pink Out game.
Yeah, the Pink Out extending all the way to our broadcast, our entire crew in pink shirts. Really just trying to
We make it look good, don't we?
I think so.
Forsters break. It'll be their ball after it went out of bounds off of Thorne. And Baker will inbound. No changes so far for the Foresters. They're looking to keep their starters out there, keep that energy up, I think, as well.
Yeah, I think so. Coach Kohler likes to keep the same players out if they're all playing well, and I think everybody's doing their roles really well right now, and just forwards playing really well inside, and we mentioned the guards just shooting the ball, really shooting the lights out right now early on.
Sub for the Maple Leafs during that timeout. Number 35, Tyra Carver, has checked in for, I believe it was Thorne. It comes the other way. Hubble with the ball. Spin move against Sears. Dishes out to Baker. Baker trying to find space. Goes to Speed. She'll work it off right. Finds Baker. Baseline jumper. That one is off the iron. No good. Rebound goes to Sears. And she's looking to push it for the Maple Leafs. Quickly up to Carver. She'll spot up for a quick two. No good. Thomas, a tough board. Dishes back to Carver. Misses the lay-in. And Speed dips it out to Baker.
They're going to push the ball here.
Baker quickly going the other way. Now she puts on the brakes. Dishes off to Hubble. Long three on the way, and she's 2 for 2.
Not a good idea to leave Kelsey Hubble open in the corner. She'll make you pay for that every time, as she does right there.
Hubble on the season, a 30% three-point shooter, has taken the most attempts on the team with 102 coming into today. Thomas a long two. That one's too strong. Ball tipped up off to Bischoff. Carver now with it on the low block. Tough shot, no good, and the rebound, Bonema.
Yeah, nice job by Bonema, just getting in there, being really quick off of her feet.
And again, the Foresters pushing the pace early. Baker gets trapped along the baseline, dishes it back out, was knocked away by Tekka, still loose on the floor. Recker has it, and she goes off to Baker. Great awareness there by the forward. Hitting it off to Baker with some space. Ball with Speed. Bounces in to Bonema. 8 on the shot clock. Baker for 2. It's good.
We don't often talk about Courtney Baker's jump shot, but she's had a few really good looks today, and she's cashed in on a lot of them, and that might set up some nice drives later on in the game.
7-0 run by the Foresters. Thomas driving in, and a travel before the shot. Great defense again by Bonema. Her presence inside really providing some good defensive action for the Foresters as she checks off now for Amelia Eschman, number 25.
And a lot of times we see Eschman come in with Miranda Palmer as well, but with Kelsey Hubble playing as good as she is right now, they're content to leave Hubble out on the floor for a while.
Baker brings it up. Pretty good space between her and Sears. She'll move off right, hand to Hubble. Hubble looking for space, stops at the free throw line, has it knocked away, but she'll corral it. Finds Recker at the high post. Recker back outside. Hubble for 3 again, and it rattles in.
And Kelsey Hubble with 9 points early, all from beyond the arc, and she's really shooting on fire right now.
With homage to NBA Jam, she is heating up.
Absolutely.
Nice dish inside to number 24. The shot up, no good, but a foul. See who the referee will call it on. It'll go against Hubble, her first. Third team foul for the Foresters. And a sub will come in. Thorne will head on for Sears, and we have another timeout. Goshen calls their timeout. 13:16 to go in the first half. Full timeout brought to you by HTV News.
Yeah, really nice run the Foresters have put together since the media timeout. Shooting very well from the field right now. We don't have the percentages at this point in the game, but I imagine probably over 50% the way they're shooting right now and just setting up some really good plays.
A 10-0 run put together by the Foresters. Full timeout brought to you by HTV News, your source for the latest video coverage. Follow them on htvnews.net and on Twitter as well, HTVnews_HU. 23-10 your score, 13-point lead for the Foresters, Caleb. And really, it's kind of been doing some drive and kick of the Foresters. That outside shot is really starting to spread out the Goshen defense.
Yeah, that's going to get it every time. We've seen they're playing very interior defense, trying to shut down Recker and Bonema, and then now Eschman now that she's out. And that outside shooting is really going to open that up, and the driving ability of Courtney Baker will be a factor later on in this game the way it's going right now.
And the Foresters trying to split the season series with Goshen after losing a tough one on the road. Out of the timeout, it'll be 2 free throws for number 24. Again, she's not listening to our program, so we're going to call her Smith for right now, unless we hear otherwise. Smith taking a lot of dribbles at the stripe. First free throw is too strong and no good. Second free throw coming. Smith on the way, and she goes 0 for 2. Rebound, Hubble.
There's a couple rebounds that Hubble's brought down today.
Hubble working quickly for the Foresters. Hands back to Baker. Switch by the Maple Leafs. Off to Speed. Inside to Eschman. Eschman working against Thorne. Kicks it back out to Hubble. Hubble to Eschman. Trying to work inside. Has to pick up her dribble and go back out. 12 on the shot clock as Baker controls it. Screen by Eschman. Baker heading inside. Kicks it back out to Speed. Fadeaway jumper off to the right, no good, and rebound Smith.
Pretty solid defensive possession there for Goshen. Nice job shutting down any kind of plays that started to develop.
Smith going to kick it outside. Bischoff alone for 3, and she connects.
High arcing shot there. I was sure that was going to go short, but it fell right through.
23-13. Maple Leafs trailing the Foresters by 10. Ball off with Speed. Hands to Hubble. She'll take another 3, and it's good. Hubble with 12 points, all of them from beyond the arc.
Well, going back to your NBA Jam reference, I think she's on fire at this point.
Sears back with it. Hubble will defend. Off to Smith. Baker will try and guard her. Swing it to Carver. Around the horn to Bischoff. Bischoff with space against Speed. Goes right. Finds Sears. Good screen set by Goshen. Sears, a tough runner in the lane, is short. Rebound Speed.
Saw a lot of good help defense there on that possession. The Foresters really playing their trademark D.
Peja off to Hubble, and she has a clear lane. Misses the lay-in. Ball still loose, and Recker comes up with the orange. Lob it inside to Eschman, but a foul over the back by Thorne.
Yeah, really nice job by the Foresters snapping back on that and grabbing that offensive rebound. It looks like we're going to see Miranda Palmer check into the game.
She will come on for Courtney Baker. Also, Liz Teka checks back in for Bischoff. Again, Palmer, and that last game against Iwu put up 22 points. All of them very important, but her last bucket was probably the most exciting of that game.
Yeah, that reverse layup. Who's going to forget that one?
Speed with the ball inside. Tough shot off the glass. No good. Ball still tipped out, and Teka corrals the loose ball. Quickly off to Sears. She'll go to Carver. Carver going to try and drive on Recker. Tough shot. Found the roll off the backside.
Well, I'm interested to see this very strong shooting lineup here for the Foresters with Hubble the way she's been playing and Palmer the way the last couple games she's had. Very dangerous outside right now.
26-15. Foresters by 11. Bounce pass off to Recker. Recker finds Speed. She is left open for 2, and it's good. 30-second timeout taken by Goshen after that wide open shot by Peja Speed. Brings her score to 28-15. Foresters back up by their largest margin of 13 points.
Yeah, I think a little bit of frustration going on with Goshen right now, having a hard time stopping this multi-headed dragon, really. That is this Foresters team, and right now they're shooting as good as I've seen them do all season.
in the Foresters by 13, and Kelsey Hubble really has been the surprise of this game, Caleb. She's been relatively quiet the past few games this season, but she is a fire lit under her right now.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Kelsey was long overdue for a really good game, and it's nice to see her back involved, shooting the way that she's capable of shooting, and right now it's led the Foresters to a very early lead.
Inbound goes to Sears, and she'll bring it up for the Maple Leafs. 28-15, 11 minutes to go in the first half. Thorne swings it around to Smith on the far wing. Palmer will defend. Pass goes to Teka. Teka trying to make something happen against Hubble. Has to pick up her dribble. Nice pass to Sears. The shot no good. And a rebound Palmer against Speed and Eschman.
Well, we've been talking about these guards. They're pulling down a lot of rebounds as well.
Palmer with it, down the key. Moves off to her left. Hands to Hubble. A hot hand. Has it knocked away, but gets it right back. Teka with some tight defense. Hands to Speed. Eschman provides a pick. Speed will hand it back to Hubble, or actually to Palmer. She has a long two. That one off to the right, no good. And it'll be a reach-in foul on Eschman. She was trying to go for the board.
Well, I like the play that they set up there. Again, as I mentioned, they like to set that high screen as they're passing it off and try to set up that long shot, but it just didn't quite fall in that time. But I think if they can keep going with that look, it's working out really well for them.
Jemani Thomas back in along with Courtney Baker. Kelsey Hubble gets her first break of the game, and she got a nice round of applause as she headed to the bench. Another sub for Goshen, number 22, Kelsey Fraley checks in. Sears once again brings it across the timeline. Quick pass off to Fraley. Fraley goes to Thomas. She'll spot up for a long two. That one rattles in off the iron.
Very peculiar bounce off that rim, but the soft touch really helped that one go in.
That's a couple of now mid-range to long-range shots for Thomas, so we'll have to watch her and see what she can do from the outside as well as down low. Speed with a nice take to the hole and answers that nicely. 30-17, Foresters back up by 13. Teka finds Thomas. Off to Sears. Switch by the Foresters. Thomas inside finds Carver. Carver against Baker lays it off the glass.
Well, Goshen in those last few possessions have started to find a little bit of offensive rhythm, and they're going to need to carry that with them if they don't want this game to get too far out of hand.
Bischoff will check in on the next stoppage of play. Bounce pass off to Recker. Recker finds a nice cutting Palmer, and it's knocked out of bounds. A nice block by Teka.
Yeah, very nice block, and what have really prevented almost a guaranteed 2 points. A nice cut by Palmer, and a nice job by, I believe, Baker for finding her.
Speed to get it in. Finds Recker at the free throw line. Lobs it into Eschman, but out of her hands and stolen by Thomas. Thomas quickly going to try and do it herself. Stops and goes back to Teka. She's open. 4-3. A high arcing shot. Off the iron, no good. Eschman flies in for the rebound. Now off with Speed. She'll direct the offense on this play. Goes off to Palmer on the baseline. She'll look to drive in the lane. Had it knocked away, but Recker finds the ball. Back out to Baker. She'll reset the play. Baker off to Palmer. Nice move. Dishes it off to Eschman. Shot fake. Has to drive in and got the layup. Nice moves there by Eschman.
Yeah, she almost lost the ball there, but she did a good job keeping her focus, keeping focus on the basket, and she was able to pull up with that nice board off the bank. 32-19, 8:45 left in the first period. Carver at the high post will spot up for two against Recker. No good. Rebound Palmer. And now Palmer working up quickly to Recker. Lay it up, no good, but a foul. Amelia Recker might be one of the better players on the team when it comes to drawing fouls, and she did a nice job there, knowing she had a defender close on the fast break, getting a free throw opportunity.
Foul on Carver, her second for the Maple Leafs. Recker has 2 free throws. And Recker on the season, a very good free throw shooter, 79%. First free throw splash is home for Amelia. Hubble back in. And she'll come on for Peja Speed. Carver and Teka head out. We see Smith check back in, along with number 33, Calla Bartlett, seeing her first action. 2 for 2 for Recker from the stripe. Should mention that Bartlett is wearing a brace on her right knee, trying to protect that right knee injury she must have picked up earlier this year. Bischoff hands to Smith. Smith will kick it out to number 22, that's Fraley. Back to Bischoff along the baseline against Baker. Tough moves, has to go back outside to Fraley. Almost lost it, but saved it. Bischoff back with it. Hard bounce pass to Thomas. She'll put up a tough shot and got the roll again off the back iron. And Thomas is really starting to find her rhythm.
Yeah, she really is, and she's been the biggest threat right now.
Here's Hubble. Had a wide open three. Decided to pass it up. Goes to Recker. Eschman for two. It is good.
Yeah, and Eschman's starting to realize what it's like to hit the bottom of the basket as well. And if she can get going, that's really just going to open up everything for these Foresters.
Foresters out to their largest lead. 15 points, 36-21. Here's Bischoff. She will lead the way. Goes to Thomas on the wing. Swing it to Smith. Right in front of the Forester bench. Smith against Baker. Bounces back out to Fraley, off to Bischoff, back to Smith. Smith going to drive, put up a tough shot, blocked by Eschman, and Recker did not anticipate that shot, but the ball ended up right in her hands.
Yeah, good reflexes. She was able just to snag on that one like an experienced basketball player would, and nice job bringing up that turnover.
Baker met by Fraley, just inside the timeline. Recker finds Palmer underneath. Could not find a shot. Back out to Recker for two.
Wow, this long two, this 15 to 20 foot shooting that the Forces have been doing has been excellent today, and they're just hitting everything on offense right now.
38-21, less than 7 minutes to go in the first half. Foresters looking good. Three ball on the way, no good. And the rebound fought for by Thomas, still loose on the floor, and Baker picks it up.
Oh, Eschman getting a little scrappy. Nice job pulling that ball out.
Quickly up to Hubble. Inside, back to Palmer for two. Yes.
I'm loving these jump shots, Eric.
40-21. And the Foresters continue to start pulling away. It's a 19-point advantage. Smith off to Bischoff. Swing it back at the top with Bartlett. She was the one who took that initial three on the last possession for the Maple Leafs. Ball back with Bischoff to Smith rather. She'll look and try and step back. 4-2 is good against Baker. That was a nifty little move there by Smith to break loose from the tenacious D of Courtney Baker.
Yeah, not an easy thing to do either.
Baker now working with the ball, trying to direct some traffic, hands it off to Palmer. Palmer moving off to her left, step back. 4-2 is short, and the rebound will be Fraley. That is Palmer's specialty. She loves that step back jumper, just left it a tad short. Thomas turnaround, no good. Ball loose on the floor. Palmer fighting for it. It'll be a jump ball to the Maple Leafs. A few subs coming in for Goshen. They'll have three check in. Number 34, Megan Strock, along with 30. Sears will check back in, and one more after this media timeout by the scorer's table. It's brought to you by the Huntingtonian. 5:45 to play in the first half. 40-23, Foresters ahead.
Well, you get the feeling that the Foresters are very hungry for revenge the way they're playing right now. We mentioned that they're more of a second half team. More important for them just to survive the first half of the game, but they're not content to do that right now. They want to win this game outright as soon as they possibly can.
Media timeout brought to you by the Huntingtonian. We are the media. Visit them at huntingtonian.com. 40-23, Foresters by 17. We'll see if they make any changes out of their timeout, but really, Caleb, anybody who has checked in has really provided great action.
Yeah, absolutely, and I like the rotation of guards that the Foresters are doing right now. They've got four of them, and basically one of them is just getting a break every time, and they're just the next person in line can sit down, and those guards are just really tearing it up on offense.
Foresters coming out. They'll have Stephanie Osborne check in for her first action today. Coming on for Amelia Recker as we see a great crowd here on hand, especially the student section, and that's great to see for this great Pink Out event.
Absolutely, and seeing Stephanie Osborne, we haven't seen her play in a long time, so it's good to see her back on the court, provide some height, and again, just let the other players, Amelia Recker especially, get a rest for the first time so far this game.
Goshen now breaks their huddle. They will have Thorne back in. That may have been the final sub in for the Maple Leafs, along with Sears and number 34, Strock. They're joined by Bischoff and Bartlett. Inbounding a Sears, she'll get it to Strock. Right back to Sears, defended tightly by Palmer. Good switch by Eschman. Lobbing it inside to Thorne. Trying to work against some tough defense in the lane. Tough shot by Strock. Rolls in around the world.
Yeah, not much you can do about that. So a really good screen by Natalie Thorne there, really setting up that shot.
40-25, 5:23 and counting remaining as Osborne has it inside to Hubble on the block, back out to Palmer. Finding Eschman, she'll take a long two. That one too strong, and the tough rebound by Strock. Strock looking to push for the Maple Leafs. Tough shot, no good. Wild miss. Thorne got the board. Back out to Bartlett, no good. Thorne another offensive board, and she converts from inside.
Well, I won't say they're killing us at this point, but those offensive rebounds definitely not helping the cause, and they need to start bringing those down on defense, the Forsters.
We'll see Page's speed check in on the next stoppage of play as Hubble works with the ball. Off to Palmer. Palmer working off of the right side, finds Baker. She'll now center, move off left, tried to dish it to Hubble, but it was knocked away. Baker came away with the ball, though. 10 on the shot clock. Palmer with a screen, step back, forward,
there it
three,
is.
and it is good.
We knew it would happen at some point, and finally able to connect with the basket, and that's dangerous news for Goshen.
Miranda Palmer can be absolutely deadly from deep range. So far this season, shooting 39% from three-point land, but an answer on the other end by Goshen. It was Strock taking the three. Baker driving in, and we have a foul call. That'll go against Bischoff.
Yeah, and Baker was really good at drawing those kind of fouls. She's so quick, and she's got such burst speed that a lot of times people can't help but foul her just to keep her from getting a free lane to the basket.
Palmer and Eschman check out for Bonema and Speed. All but one starter on the floor for Huntington. As Baker looks to inbound, goes to Bonema. Hand back to Baker. She'll look to cut in the lane. Nice slash. Misses the lay-in. No good, but knocked out of bounds by Goshen.
Yeah.
43-30 your score. 13-point lead for the Forsters. 4:04 to go in the first half. Hubble to get it in. Looking for help. She'll go deep to Speed. Speed pump fakes. Now spins off right. Picks up her dribble and goes to Baker. Baker with a screen from Speed. She'll dish it back out. Hubble for three. It is good. Hubble is now 5 for 5 with 15 points.
Outstanding shooting. I have not seen her shoot this well all season, and it's a great time to do it.
I'm going to break out a Call of Duty reference. That was some steady aim by Kelsey Hubble as Bartlett answers on the baseline far side with a 2. 46-32. Forsters by 14. Baker back to Hubble. Hubble dribbles off to her left. Inside to Bonema. Loose ball. Picked it up. Tough shot. Is good by Bonema.
Nice focus there. Picking up that loose ball. And great really hook shot in there.
Sears looking to go coast to coast. And that will be a jump ball. It'll go to the Foresters, however. It must have been Bonema's hand on top of the ball and then it going straight to the floor. And that is now a jump instead of a straight-up block.
Either way, nice job by Bonema finding the basketball. She's done a great job staying away from fouls early on in this game.
Closing in on 3 minutes to go. 48-32. As Speed goes inside. Tough shot. Got it and one.
Well, it seemed like she may have gotten away with a travel there as she bursted, but nice job recovering and gotten that shot off, and her focus is as good as anybody. She's able to get that and one opportunity.
Foul goes against Strock, 4th team foul, and Speed is at the line for an and one opportunity. Left-hander out of Portland, Indiana, rattles it in. 51-32, Forsters back ahead by their largest lead of 19. Pass with Sears, Bartlett to Bischoff. She'll move it off to the right and dish it to Strock. Strock will step back for 3. That one off to the left, no good. And a deep rebound by Bonema, quickly up to Hubble. Now Hubble slows things down, guarded very tightly by Sears, spun away, finds Baker for 2. It is good.
At the friendly bounce there, and Courtney Baker's really been a pretty potent offensive threat and a scorer.
Foresters ahead by 21, their largest lead of the day. Bischoff bounces back outside to Sears. Sears, shot from the high post is good. Goshen not taking this 21-point lead lightly, now 19. And they're still trying to fight through this initial first half.
Yeah, they know they've got to just keep pushing that pressure, especially offensively, if they're going to hang with the Foresters.
Bounce it off to Osborne. She'll go inside to Hubble, misses the lay-in. Good look by Osborne to find a cutting Hubble. Just could not convert on the other end. 2 on the way, and a nice swish again by Strock. 53-36, 17-point advantage for Huntington. As Baker works with it near wing, defended by Strock, looking for some help. Tried to go to Speed, but could not. Baker off to Hubble. Ball knocked away by Sears. Both fighting for the ball. We'll see who the foul is on. It'll be on Hubble. That'll be her second, 15th foul, and Palmer will look to check back in. So too does Tekka and Thomas for Goshen. And now Recker will also check into the basketball game for Osborne. Inbounding will be Struck. She'll do so on the far side. Another sub for Goshen. It is Smith on for Sears.
Major lineup changes for both teams.
1:28 to go in the first half. Goshen ball is with Smith, and we're back underway. Smith goes on to the near side, and Tekka guarded tightly by Palmer. And now off to the far side. Struck to Thomas. Step back jumper is good.
Well, they're certainly not backing down, even in the face of this big deficit that they're facing.
Baker gets the play in from head coach Lori Culler. As Baker crosses half court, plenty of space between her and her defender. He'll hand off to Palmer. Palmer with the screen from Bonema, looking to try and cut. Instead, dishes back out. Long two by Speed is good.
Yeah, and Paige still reminds everybody that she's the commander of this floor here. And nice long jump shot. She's had several of those today.
55-38, drive inside. Smith with a nifty layup against Bonema.
Yeah, that's as tough a shot as you're ever going to see. Excellent defense by Bonema, but there's no way that you can defend any better than that, and she nailed that shot anyway.
35 seconds to go in the first half. 15-point lead for the Foresters. 55-40, Baker taking her time. 13 seconds between shot and game clock. Baker off to Palmer on the far wing. Screen Recker. Try to enter it into Recker, and that one is too wide. It'll go out of bounds and give Goshen the last possession with 20.8 on the clock. It'll go into Smith. Smith across the timeline. Baker will try and defend. Pass off to Thomas. Thomas against Recker. Waiting for some movement. Goes to Smith. Screen Thomas. Smith, step back, 4-2 off the backboard, no good. Rebound, Speed, 2 on the shot, 2 on the clock. Tough jumper by Speed is no good.
Well, nice job defensively by the Foresters, preventing that last shot from being made. And man, what a half by this Foresters team.
Halftime score, 55-40. Foresters leading Goshen at the break on Forester Live on YouTube and 105.5 Fuse FM.
Your presence today allows Huntington University Women's Basketball to help raise funds in support of the Vera Bradley Foundation for Breast Cancer. Breast cancer has and continues to touch so many lives. It is our hope that today's event will aid in the search for a cure, raise awareness about breast cancer, and allow us an opportunity to celebrate the courage and triumph of breast cancer survivors with us today. Please join us in honoring today's Pink Out participants. Huntington University Women's Basketball would like to thank the Vera Bradley Foundation for Breast Cancer for its generous donation of a commemorative gift for all survivors attending today's Pink Out. The Huntington University cheerleaders will distribute the gifts as we honor each survivor by name. Please hold your applause until all of the participants' names have been read. Phyllis Banton, Susan Batdorf, Elizabeth Biglow, Nellie Birdsall, Sherry Carroll, Rita Duquesne, Vicky Floaty, Sally Green, Diana Grog, Michelle Hathaway, Cheryl Hitzman, Karen Humbarger, Linda Keel, Marcia Klein, Victoria Linker, Rita McCabe, Ann Malone, Sheila Osborne, Nadine Piedmont, Kathleen Rehart, Steve Shoemaker, Bev Sunderman, and Carol Sunderman. How about a round of applause for our Peacock honorees? Ladies and gentlemen, please again join us in honoring today's Peak Out participants. and Sport One for its partnership. O&E physicians specialize in bones, joints, spines, and sports medicine. O&E also has athletic trainers that provide team coverage to the area athletic programs, including
Back inside Platt Arena, the 6th annual Pink Out game for breast cancer awareness. At the break, 55-40, the Foresters leading the Maple Leafs, Caleb. And again, we can follow our games on Twitter as well. Follow at HU_sports for our women's games, and for men's games, follow at HU Hoops. They honored our breast cancer survivors here at halftime, a very nice ceremony there. Each of them giving a little special gift, and it was a really, really excellent ceremony. Actually, my grandmother was one of the first ones out there.
Yeah, I recognized a lot of last names out there, a lot of family of students and some of the players even. So it's really good just to have this kind of a family event here for the Huntington community, and just honoring those people who have been through so much and showed that kind of strength, and we'd like to honor them for that strength that they've shown.
Yes, indeed we would, and we're glad that you're joining us here today on Fuse FM and on YouTube. I'm Eric Bant alongside Caleb Overfelt, and let's take a look at this game now, Caleb, in our halftime stats. The Foresters dominating, it seems like, in every aspect of the game. 66% from the field, 100% from the free throw line, and 100% from three. 6 for 6, 5 of those coming from Kelsey Hubble.
Yeah, absolutely on fire. And you want to talk about stats, let's take a look at this. 55 points in this half. They scored 51 the entire game against Indiana Wesleyan. So completely different field of this game. A very defensive one with IWU, and now just a very offensive shooting out game. And just as you mentioned, excellent shooting, especially by Kelsey Hubble, just nailing them from beyond the arc. Rebound's still a little bit of a problem for the Foresters. They're down by 2 overall, but they've given up 11 offensive boards, allowing a lot of second chance opportunities. So if there's anything I want to criticize them for, even though we'd be nitpicking a little bit, they really do need to try to limit those boards, and that's more of just a problem overall they have, not just with this game.
And again, a relatively low turnover half, 6 combined, each of them with 3. That's got to be one bright spot, at least if you're a Goshen fan here.
Yeah. And I didn't think Goshen played a bad half at all. Really, scoring 40 points on these Foresters in one half is pretty impressive in their own right. We mentioned they never really backed down. Even if they got into bigger deficits, they came and they still shot aggressively. And I think it paid off for them. And 15 points, the way the Foresters are playing, a 15-point deficit isn't the end of the world for them.
Leading scorer for Goshen was Thomas with 12. We should mention that number 24 is Linnea Noel. She's just listed at 23 in our program. She is number 24, though, out on the floor. So we want to apologize for that and clear that up. More individual scores. They're all led by Kelsey Hubble with 17 points. Paige Speed with 15. Courtney Baker has 8. And 6 assists also for Kelsey Hubble.
Yeah, she's playing maybe one of the better games that I've seen. She's pulled down a couple key rebounds even, which is not typically something that she does in these games. And as I mentioned, shooting very well. She set up a lot of good things on offense, using her dribble, using some good moves. Saw her spin a few times. Just playing an excellent game from Hubble, and really, like I said, it's good to see her kind of back in the spotlight here.
Let's take a trip now around the Crossroads League as we have other games going on this afternoon. We do have a couple to be determined. We do not have scores from. Those are Marion and Bethel and Grace and St. Francis. At these other 2 games, though, at the half, Taylor leads by 5, 32-27 over Spring Arbor on the road. And then Indiana Wesleyan also traveling today to Mount Vernon. They lead at the break 30-22.
Yeah, something you and I mentioned before we came back. Very surprised that Indiana Wesleyan's only up by 8 o'clock against a struggling Mount Vernon team. And we mentioned that Indiana Wesleyan has lost 3 straight, the most recent coming from these Foresters, and they really seem to be struggling in this second wave of Crossroads League play.
And we mentioned they're, I believe, 1-4 now in this second wave, and that is very, very crucial. They have to start bouncing back, or else they may not have a home game in the Crossroads League tournament, and that would be a first in quite some time.
Yeah, that would be. They're normally one of the top players in this, top teams in this league, and it's very surprising to see them in this kind of slump that they're in right now.
Take a look now at your standings. Again, we'll review those. These have factored in the tiebreakers should the season end today. The first overall tiebreaker is head-to-head matchup, and that is why you see Grace ahead of Indiana Wesleyan. Even though they both have a 9-4 record, Grace won by 2 against IWU earlier this year, and that's why you see Taylor ahead of Spring Arbor. Taylor beating the Cougars earlier this season.
Yeah, and that game's still going on right now, and we didn't mention that one. Very close game. I believe 4 or 5 points that's separating that. And, the winner gets into that 8th spot. So very big game there.
And again, that could break up the tie for the 7th spot.
7th.
And those are the final 2 spots to get into the postseason tournament for the Crossroads League. And Mount Vernon, if they can somehow pull out a great second half and win, they would be deadlocked for that 8th spot.
Well, as I mentioned, Mount Vernon seems to have a little bit of pep in their step lately. They're playing really good against some really solid teams, and I think that they'll be able to pull themselves into this 8th spot. I think they'll be able to make the tournament.
As for this game, let's take a look at some second half keys now, Caleb. Again, the Foresters shooting lights out, just under 66%, 23 of 35 from the field. Didn't miss a three-pointer or a field goal. And that's not usually what we see out of the Foresters. Usually they like to go inside, but that drive-in kick definitely worked, especially in the three-point game.
Well, I think Goshen planned their defense around that inside play of the Foresters. They're playing very tight in the paint, and they have done a good job shutting down the forwards and also the center and Jacqueline Bonema, really keeping them quiet offensively. But the Foresters have adjusted their game plan accordingly, and they're shooting incredibly well, using that outside. We mentioned Courtney Baker especially, and also a little bit of Peja Speed driving in and using that to slash apart the defense. And right now, the key, I think, for Goshen is they need to adjust their defense accordingly. They need to spread out, play a little more on the outside, but also be ready to help when the Foresters try to go inside.
I would also say they just need to make a few more shots. 43% is usually a good first half, but when your opponent shoots 66, that's not exactly a recipe for success. And we'll see who gets the better in the second half as we head to break on Forester Live on YouTube and 105.5 Fuse FM. 55-40, Foresters lead. Back inside Platt Arena, 55-40 your score. The Lady Foresters with the lead, and the Maple Leafs will start out with the basketball, leading by 15 over Goshen College. They'll have their starters on the floor: Hubble, Baker, Speed, Recker, and Bonema.
Yeah, those starters got a lot of playing time. All played very well. As we mentioned, the forwards in the center being focused, but just doing a good job trying to pull down a few rebounds, especially offensively. They could struggle a little bit pulling down the defensive rebounds. That's something we're going to see adjusted here today.
And again, you mentioned we'll have to see the Goshen defense adjust if they want to try and get in this and not allow so many easy looks for Huntington on the inside, and especially in there in the lane.
Yeah, and when you spread your defense, you have to start incorporating help defense, because when you guard up top, it really opens up those drives, and if you don't help, they're going to slash you through, and the Foresters are very good at doing that.
Maple Leafs start the ball, and we're underway. It is with Noel. Noel trying to step back on Baker. Noel, nice dish, but it's through the legs of Thorne, and it's out of bounds. A quick turnover by Goshen.
Yeah, definitely not the way they wanted to start out the second half. Just a miscommunication on the pass and quick turnovers. We mentioned, haven't seen very many of those this game.
Baker hands off to Speed on the far side. Works her way back to the right, and Hubble. Hubble looking for some space. Dishes inside to Bonema. Back out. Recker for two. It's good.
Really good ball movement there. We saw a very nice dish by Hubble, getting it to Bonema, who was able to find Recker, and she's really starting to develop that 15-foot jumper.
Recker only with 4 points, now has 6. After that nice two from the high post. Here's Bischoff far side, working against Speed. Knocked away, out of bounds by Peja, and it'll stay with the Maple Leafs. Out of bounds underneath the basket on the right side. It'll be Noel inbounding for Goshen. Baker not defending the inbound. Now turns around as the inbound goes deep to Tekka, number 5. Tekka backs it out, goes to Thomas, far wing. Off to Noel. Noel gonna drive inside. Steps back on Bonema, no good, and Jacqueline got a nice board. Quickly coming is Baker. Baker known to have that quick spark, and she can turn it on when she wants to. Hubble to Speed. Inside, Bonema. Tough shot against Thorne. No good, off to the right. Teka the rebound. She's pushing for Goshen. Off in the center. She'll dish it off. Thomas along the baseline. Fakes the shot. Now has to dish it outside. Did not get called on the double dribble, but then she went outside.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there.
I guess she thought she got called for a double dribble and was looking to go to the referee, but play was still live.
Huh, very interesting.
Baker back with it for the Foresters, 57-40. Huntington up by 17. Speed, spin move back left, finds Baker. Screened by Recker. Baker, an open two is good.
Very well executed play there. Very tight screens. Good job by Courtney Baker. She goes around just right on the edge of those to shake her defender and had a nice jump shot. And man,
Baker,
like I said, those 50-foot shots really good.
Now in double figures with 10 points as Noel looks to try and step back. Has to find a teammate. Knocked away by Baker and out of bounds off of Thomas, I believe, as she was trying to go corral it.
Well, Goshen had 3 turnovers in the entire first half of play, and inside of 2 minutes here, they've turned it over 3 times already.
And a thumbs up from Coach Culler on the sidelines as Baker brings it across half court. Met by Noel, bounces off to Recker, high post. Looking for movement. She'll go to Bonema now and find Baker. Baker looking for some help. She'll bounce it off a few times, goes to Speed. Now Page will move it back to the near side, screen Recker. Off to Recker, 2-pointer is good, and Recker is developing an outside shot.
Yeah, Recker was quiet in the first half, but really stepping up here with a couple nice jump shots.
Recker now with 8. And 61-40, Forsters by 21. Quick 3 from Teka splashes home. Puts it back down to an 18-point disadvantage for Goshen. And Baker gets the play in from the sidelines, hands to Hubble. Hubble bounces to Bonema. Bounces and a reach-in foul as Noel was trying to go for the steal on Bonema. She'll be called for the foul. Team foul number 1 of the half for either side. Noel with the foul. Not know the number on her as Hubble has it. Goes to Speed, 2-ball, no good. Tipped out, nice tip by Noel to get it to Bischoff and quickly off to Teka far side. Teka will take a long 2, left it short, rebound Recker. Almost taken away though by Bischoff. Quickly coming is Baker. She'll slash into the lane, now backs it out to the perimeter. Screen from Speed, works it all the way off to the left. Hubble for 3, it's good. She still hasn't missed, Caleb.
No,
that's 6 for 6.
I don't think she plans on it at any point today, and that puts her at 20 points so far in this game, and there's still a lot of time left to play.
Timeout taken by Goshen. It'll be a 30-second timeout. 64-43, and Kelsey Hubble with her first real attempt in the half. Picked up right where we left off in the first.
Yeah, she's really starting to have a career game here, and it's just nice to see those different weapons all over from the Forest.
And she really hasn't had that heat check yet. It's just the tough ones inside that she's been missing.
Right, and that's okay. You know, you want her to do what her strengths are, and right now that is the three-point shooting all the way.
16:38 to play in the second half. And 64-43, a 21-point advantage for Huntington. No changes out of their huddle. We may see some out of Goshen, but we'll wait and see. We will see Carver in for Thorne. Carver, number 35, team up with Thomas, try and do something inside for the Maple Leafs. Teka gets it in to Noel. Baker still playing with a passion on defense. Teka finds an open space in the corner for 3. In and out, no good. Went all the way around the world.
Yeah, very tough shot there.
Baker going to bring it back quickly for the Foresters, but taken away by Noel. Noel with a nifty spin, misses the layup, got her own rebound, and put it back.
Yeah, really good play there. Couldn't quite finish that shot, but she did a good job grabbing her own rebound, and it's very difficult to outrun Courtney Baker on the fast break and get a good move off on her.
64-45. Hubble with the ball. Moving left. Nice dish to Speed. Adjusts, and a little too strong on the jumper. Ball loose on the floor. Bonema fighting for it and causes the tie-up to the Foresters.
Yeah, excellent job there. That rebound was outright to Goshen, and she was able to take it away. That's the kind of aggression we like to see out of Jacqueline.
Media timeout. 15:54 to go in the second half. We'll see Sears check in after the break. The media timeout brought to you by the Huntingtonian. And Caleb, the Foresters, really kind of picking up where they left off. And they've gone on a 9-5 run to start the half.
Yeah, they're not showing any signs of slowing down, particularly on the offensive side. And I think they've stepped it up a little bit defensively, starting to force some turnovers, which they really didn't do very well. Of course, that's not too hard to swallow whenever you only commit 3 yourself in the first half. So they're just doing a nice job overall, rounding out their game, pulling down some boards on defense as well.
Media timeout brought to you by the Huntingtonian. We are the media. Visit them at huntingtonian.com and follow them on Facebook and Twitter. I want to send a special thank you to our sponsors for today's Pink Out game: Beacon Credit Union, Sodexo, Huntington University Student Life, Huntington University Student Senate, Coaches Connection, and Town and Country Flowers. A special thank you for sponsoring this 6th annual Pink Out game.
And as you mentioned, very good turnout. We have the student section very full, which is on Saturdays sometimes tough to do. A lot of people want to stay in, especially when it's as cold as it has been out. But big thank you to our students for showing up today, supporting this event and their women's basketball team.
It'll be Forester ball after a nice fight for the ball by Bonema. She fought for it with Carver underneath to force the tie-up, give the Foresters the ball with the possession arrow. That will change now to Goshen as soon as the inbound occurs. Again, it will be Speed inbounding underneath the basket left side this time, as Goshen now takes the floor. Again, Sears has checked in for Bischoff. Peja looking to get it in. Knocked away by Teka, but Baker corrals the ball. Off to Hubble on the corner. Moves back to the left. Now goes to Speed. Speed top of the key. Looking to go inside. Does to Bonema. Tough turnaround jumper is good.
And Bonema's really stepped it up these last few possessions. They've been all her right now, and she's doing an excellent job playing down low.
Bonema now, I believe, with 4 or 6 points. She's been really providing some good action early in this second half inside, where the Foresters somewhat struggled there in the first half, Caleb.
And we predicted we might see some inside play now from the Foresters in the wake of what happened in the first half.
Thomas with it, trying to drive on Bonema. Turnaround, and it'll be a travel.
Now turnover starting to become a major factor for Goshen. They're really starting to get flustered, push that tempo of the ball, and when you do, the turnovers are bound to happen if you don't focus.
Thorne back in for Thomas. It'll be Forester ball, Baker to inbound. And now Baker gets it back from Hubble. She'll bring it across the timeline. Met by Noel. Baker hands to Speed. Good switch by the Maple Leafs. Bonema with it. Finds Recker. Back out to Speed. Speed with space. Trying to go inside. That one will be a kick by Teka. As Speed tried to enter it in to Recker on the low block.
With that kick, the shot clock will go back up to 15 seconds. More than enough time for the Foresters to set up a play.
66-45. 21-point lead for Huntington. Baker finding space. Open for 2, and that one is no good. Ball is tipped out. Speed tracks it down. And back outside to Baker. The Foresters reset the offense. Baker sprinting to the right side, finds Speed, enters it into Recker, and she lays it up.
Excellent dish by Speed, seeing that very narrow passing lane and getting that ball through like a laser to Amelia Recker.
Look at the other way, Sears to Noel. Sears sets the screen, good switch, Speed now defense. Carver left open for 2, off the back iron, could not find the roll. Put back, no good, and tipped up. Recker gets the defensive board. That was Thorne on the inside trying to take a shot. Off to Hubble for 3.
Oh,
yes!
Oh, my!
7 for 7.
I'm beginning to wonder if she's capable of missing.
Oh. Kelsey Hubble on fire from beyond the arc. She's now got, I believe, 23 points. Nice drive inside. Layup missed by Noel. Rebound Bonema. Back coming is Baker. Baker. She's looking to give to Hubble, and she does. Spin move. Enters into Recker. Knocked away and stolen by Carver. Carver having a tough time controlling it. Ball still loose and out of bounds off of Baker.
We saw Kelsey Hubble get a hand on that basketball up by the timeline and really just struggling to defend. And when you have Courtney Baker on you, that steal is going to happen as well. As Jacqueline Bonema checks out of the game, get a nice round of applause. Amelia Eschman's going to be in for her.
71-45. And Caleb, the last time the Foresters played Goshen here in Plant Arena, at halftime, it was senior night, and the fire alarms went off. During halftime, we had to get out of here, so obviously no one was in here, and we still had the stream going. but we got it done. We somehow got it done.
Well,
strange things happen when we play Goshen, I guess.
It is. In this business, anything happens, and you got to be ready to improvise and think on your feet. And that was one of the worst examples ever of that.
We just had to rush out of there. Oh, man. That's a night I would like to forget.
Yep. Been lots of interesting fire alarm stories here for most of these students here at HU.
I'm sure. Ball was knocked out of bounds by Goshen. Forrester ball. Speed back with it. Speed finds Recker. High post jumper is short. Off to the left and rebound Thorne. She'll give it off to Carver. And Carver will bring it up, and she's directing the offense for Goshen. Off to Sears, far side. Trying to work on Speed. Spins back left. Dishes it off to Carver along the baseline. Carver going to drive. Puts that up. A tough shot. Rebound to Eschman. Baker pushing the pace. Now backs it out to the perimeter. Slow down, go off to Hubble. Open again for three. Oh my goodness, it's good again.
How is this happening?
And how appropriate that her number is 3.
Maybe there's a reason behind that.
Oh my goodness, Kelsey Hubble 8 for 8 from beyond the arc.
You know, I keep thinking she might quit while she's ahead, but she's not content to do that.
Step back by Strock. Two-pointer no good. Rebound. Eschman along the baseline and saved it.
Nice focus as well, and Paige is open.
Quickly up to Speed. Nice adjustment. Count it. And the foul.
Somebody stop these Foresters.
Foul on Strock. 76-45. Palmer will check in for Courtney Baker. And Tekka and Thomas return for Bartlett and Carver. There you see the guard combination of Palmer and Hubble just outside the three-point line. And Speed for the and one free throw. It is good.
And really, synergy is the key here. These Foresters just fueling each other right now, and it's really scary when they start doing it to the level that they are right now.
77-45. Here's the drive by Tekka. Misses the layup. Ball knocked out of bounds and to the Maple Leafs.
A nice job by Amelia Eschman, I believe, stepping in on that defense, preventing that open drive.
Quick inbound goes to Thorne. Back outside, Thomas. Over to Tekka in the corner. Moves back right. Picks up her dribble to Thomas. Back to Tekka, and she centers the ball. Bounce it off to Thomas. She'll have to drive inside on Eschman. Step back, goes cross court. Tekka for 2. No good. Rebound Speed. And Speed will be fouled as she tried to break that double team. It will go against Strock. Team foul number 3 and her 3rd. Bischoff checks back in for Sears. And it will be Speed inbounding to Palmer. Palmer now will run the point with Baker on the bench, deserving a well-needed rest. Palmer works it off right, hands to Hubble. Hubble back to Speed. 2-ball on the way and no good. Off to the right. Tipped up and the rebound. Recker. What a move to get it among 2 Maple Leafs. Cross court Palmer. Works it back to the left. Centers the ball. Now she will drive. Layup is good with the left hand.
Man, you think of Miranda Palmer as a shooter, but here lately maybe really good at those lay-ins as well, as we mentioned that game winner against Indiana Wesley.
Here's Tekka working top of the key. Nice drive inside. Misses the layup. Ball knocked out by a Forrester. And we'll see subs coming in. Allison Trout going to see her first action today. And so too will Angela McLean, number 42 for Goshen. Speed heads to the sidelines. Also coming out was Thorne for Goshen. Deep inbound to Thomas. Thomas content to work with it a little bit. Trying to cross over Recker. She'll find some space. 2-ball is no good. Rebound Eschman.
Forster's doing a much better job pulling down defensive boards this half.
Palmer with it. Quickly across the timeline. Centers it against Bischoff. She'll go to Hubble. Hubble moving right. Knocked away by Bischoff. Hubble fights for it and got it. Off to Recker. Here is Recker off to Palmer. 10 on the shot clock. Palmer finding space. Gonna try and go baseline. Tried to dish it off to Eschman, but stolen by Strock. Strock will deal it back out to Bischoff. And she'll work it into the Forster half of the court. Bischoff working far side. She'll try and drive and lay it up. No good. Rebound to Eschman once more. And now Hubble will go behind the back to provide some space and dishes to Palmer. Palmer top of the key. Working off to her left. She'll dish to Trout. Allison will now try and make something happen. Goes to Hubble. Here's another three. Oh, no good. Her first miss from deep.
Well,
there's the heat
perfect.
check, finally. Oh, my. But what a game so far from Kelsey Hubble as Tekka goes coast to
At
coast.
this point, the damage has been done.
79-47. Foresters by 22 or 32. When you put together a run like the Foresters have, it's easy to miss about 10 points there, Caleb.
Yeah.
Pass goes to Trout. She will spot for two. Left it short. Rebound, Eschman. Ball knocked loose. Still on the floor and picked up by Tekka. Tekka going quickly up to Strock. 2-on-1. Nice dish to Thomas, but stolen by Palmer. Palmer will work it quickly up to Recker. Nice stop. She draws the foul. And Recker will be at the line. The foul goes against McLean. A freshman forward out of Palm Bay, Florida.
Yeah, nice job handling that situation on the 2-on-1. I'm talking about Miranda Palmer. Just an excellent job keeping in between those two defenders, not allowing either one of those to be open and being aware when that ball got loose to pull up that turnover.
Recker's first free throw is good. Swishes it in. Bonema and Baker check back in. Hubble led to the sidelines along with Eschman. And a big hand for Kelsey Hubble, the sophomore out of Pendleton, Indiana. She is playing very, very well today. We may not see her for the rest, but what a performance today.
Oh, absolutely. Just really slaying from beyond the arc. And her play, no doubt, helped the Foresters get off to that early lead and just sustain it throughout the rest of this game.
Osborne back in for Recker. She'll head to the sidelines as well to get a break. As we hit the 9-minute mark to go in the second half, 81-47, Foresters leading. Cross court to Bischoff, almost lost it out of bounds, but corralled it. Nice pass inside to Thomas, who almost lost it herself. Step back jumper is good over Bonema. Quickly into Palmer, back to Baker. Now Baker will take over the point guard duties. She'll work it off to the right. Hand to Palmer. Palmer enters into Osborne. Osborne kicks it back out. Bonema for two
Nice
is
jump
good.
shot. And Jack Lee's been having a very good game, and that jump shot just adds to it.
Quickly up to Thomas. Thomas back to Tekka near the top of the key. Palmer right in her face. Tekka hands back to Noel, to Thomas. Trying to work again on Bonema. Has to dish it back outside to Bischoff. Bischoff, bounce pass. Thomas will drive inside. A foul before the shot. It'll be on the floor and goes against Bonema. Only the first foul in the half for the Foresters. They've been playing relatively clean.
Yeah, they only had 5 in the first half, so really just a nice job overall, and that's a couple games in a row now that they've done that.
Inbounding will be Tekka on the far side underneath the basket. She'll go deep to Noel. Corrals the pass. Now she'll try and drive on Bonema. Dishes back to Thomas. Good help by Osborne. Ball out of bounds off of Noel.
Well, I liked what she was doing with the pass, but it was just a little bit too crowded to be throwing that one into the lane, and Foresters were able to take advantage and force that turnover.
Thorne checks back in for McLean. Baker gets it into Palmer, gives it right back to the junior Baker. Gets the play in from the sidelines. Baker off to the left, will hand off to Palmer. Stops and pops, tries to step back on Bischoff, dishes to Baker. Screen, Osborne. Here's the kick to Trout. Trout will drive and is fouled. That will go on Tekka. Team foul number 5. And we've hit the second media timeout of the half. It's brought to you by the Huntingtonian at 7:42 remaining in regulation.
Yeah, and really, we'll start to see, I think, some subs come in for the Foresters. These last few games, we've seen really a lot of the same players, really about 7 players that have had most of the playing time. So it's nice to see a few of the others get in rotation. We've seen at this point in the game, Stephanie Osborne and Allison Trout get some time in, and I think we'll see some more subs as the game goes on. Score
83-49. This media timeout brought to you by the Huntingtonian. We are the media. Visit them at huntingtonian.com. Again, the Foresters putting together a complete game today, Caleb. And Kelsey Hubble, without a doubt, has been the player of the game with a breakout performance, 8 of 9 from beyond the arc.
Yeah, I doubt anybody's going to rival her for player of the game at this point now. Really just excellent job, starting off strong. When she hits that first one, it's really hard to stop her for the rest of the day, and she's just done an excellent job stepping up, scoring the basketball today.
And again, we'll probably see a lot of the bench come on for the Foresters. Maybe Lacey Dietrich will get some time, and it'll be good to see those players out on the floor. We've seen a lot of Osborne today. A lot more than we have seen in games past, really.
Yeah, hasn't been on the floor for a few games, so it's nice to see her back out on the floor being a part of this team.
Trout will inbound for the Foresters, a fresh 30 after the foul was committed by Liz Tecca. Goshen now breaks their huddle. They'll have Thorne Thomas. Number 3, Antiana Terrell has checked in. And then they're also working with Tecca and Noel. Inbound, tipped up, but corralled by Osborne. She heads to the floor, and the ball dribbles out of bounds.
I'm really not quite sure how that wasn't a foul. Looks like there was some tripping that happened, sending Stephanie Osborne to the ground, but either way, turnover.
Goshen brings it up. It is Tecca. Off to the far side. Thomas swings to Terrell. Terrell bounces off to Noel. And now she'll look to drive inside. Going against Baker. Wild layup, no good. Rebound Bonema against 3 Maple Leafs.
Yeah, it seems like she lost track of the basket as she went up for that layup.
Quickly up to Trout. She will kick to Palmer. Now Palmer will slow things down for the Foresters. In 83-49 your score. 34-point lead for Huntington. Baker off to Trout. Trout moving left. And a dish to Palmer. Palmer had some space. Step back is good for a long 2.
And now with Kelsey Hubble out, Miranda Palmer is really going to start to step up and throw some shots down to help seal this win.
Under 7 minutes to go, 85-49. Foresters leading Goshen. Here's Tecca against Palmer. She'll dish off to Noel. Returns a screen. And now a good switch as Palmer now defends Noel. 7 on the shot clock. Noel off to the right against Bonema. Step back for 2 is in and out, no good. Rebound Thorne and a foul.
Yeah, really tough break for them. They've had a couple shots really just as far down in the basket as they can go without actually going in, and very unfortunate for them. Definitely got to be frustrating for them just the way this game is going.
3rd foul on Bonema. Only the 2nd in the half for the Foresters. Thorne at the line for 2. First one on the way and off the back iron, but falls.
And we mentioned the substitutions for the Foresters. Lacey Dietrich coming in for Courtney Baker, who gets a nice round of applause here from this crowd.
We see number 30, Sophia Sears, check in for Goshen. Dietrich seeing her first action today. 2nd free throw off the back iron and no good. Ball knocked loose and still on the floor. Bonema gonna tie it up. It will go to the Maple Leafs. Good hustle there by Goshen. It was Thomas fighting for it in there with Bonema. 85-50. 6:26 to play. Sears will try and get it in. Bounces in to Noel. Turnaround is up. No good. May have been blocked. Still fighting for it. And another jump ball to the Foresters.
Yeah, she turned around and had about 6 Forester arms up in the air, shooting in that forest, if you will, of defenders. Sorry for that bad pun.
Oh, believe me, I've said plenty of bad puns. You're okay. And a timeout called by head coach Lori Culler. It'll be a full timeout brought to you by HTV News with 6:17 to play in the second half.
Well, the Foresters really starting to settle in here and just start running out the clock. They've done just some serious work this game, and when they're playing like this, you think it starts to make you really excited for that St. Francis game coming up, that next home game. I think that if anybody has a shot to knock off that undefeated #1 team in Division II basketball, I think these Lady Foresters can do it.
I very well think so, and especially seeing their effort against Indiana Wesleyan, that to me said a lot for the heart of this team.
Absolutely. They've shown that they can play tough. Here they've shown they can play explosively. I think really they've improved so much this season, and I think they've got a shot at knocking off St. Francis.
Full timeout brought to you by HTV News, your source for the latest video coverage. Leads the Foresters with 5 timeouts. Goshen working with 3. As both huddles start to break. Foresters again working with Dietrich, Trout, Palmer, Osborne, and Bonema. 4 freshmen and a sophomore out there for the Foresters.
Yeah, and I think every eligible player for the Foresters has seen playing time today. The only one on the roster who hasn't is the redshirt freshman Gina Eisenhunt.
Palmer trying to break the half-court trap and does. She's quickly across, and a reach-in foul on Sears from behind.
Nice job by Palmer using her speed to draw that frustration foul there.
Number 30, Sophia Sears, her first.
Sears' first foul, 6th team foul, one or more, and the Foresters will be shooting free throws. Quick inbound to Trout. She'll stop and pop for a long two, no good. Another fight for the rebound to the floor, a jump ball again, as Bonema is getting more aggressive and really tried to go get that rebound.
Yeah, there's a lot of simultaneous possession in these last couple goes of the basketball, and really, like you mentioned, Jacqueline Bonema not willing just to give up those defensive rebounds, but she's going to go for them every time.
Ball worked with Noel for Goshen. She'll hand off to Terrell, and that one knocked out of bounds, I believe by Trout, and may have gotten a hand on it. 17 on the shot clock for Goshen. Sears looking to inbound, tries to go in the near sideline, does, ball's loose, and that is out of bounds off of Palmer. She was trying to fight and go get it. Again, Sears will inbound, only 2 seconds off the shot clock for Goshen. Inbound will get in easily this time to Thomas. Thomas will drive, a foul on the floor. It'll be on Bonema, I believe. No, it'll go on Osborne this time. And Coach Culler just holds her hands up in the air. Doesn't know exactly what happened.
Yeah, a little confusing there, but also you got to look at how consequential it is. And at this point in the game, doesn't look like it's very likely to be of any importance.
Inbound Thomas, step back jumper, good against Osborne, fading away from the basket. And Palmer will run the offense with Baker and many of the starters on the bench for the Foresters. Palmer fakes the handoff, now gives it to Dietrich. Dietrich inside to Osborne. Nice kick back out to Bonema, no good. Osborne the board, finds Palmer on the near wing.
Yeah, really just nice possession and really getting those offensive rebounds, allowing to reset the shot clock is maybe
Palmer
the best thing
behind
that
the
can
back, drives in and draws the foul. That'll go on Thomas. Got her on the wrist, and Palmer has 2. Eschman will check in, along with one other Goshen player. That is Strock, number 34. Talked about Palmer and her effort these past few games, Caleb. She has really come into her own and has really provided great action for the Foresters as she rattles in the first free throw.
Yeah, she does an awesome job as a 6th player coming off the bench, supporting those other guards, the starters, and she's just an explosive scorer. Very excited to see what her future holds here at HU.
5:11 to play. Again, Eschman checks in for Bonema. That second free throw from Palmer is good. No starters on the floor now for the Foresters. Bringing it up, Noel, crossed half court. Palmer will meet her at the top of the key. 2 screens by Goshen. Noel finds Strock. Strock back out. Terrell, long 3 is good.
Yeah, finally some signs of life there from Goshen, able to get that 3 in, and it might just help their pride at this point.
Goshen has only managed 15 points so far here in the second half, while Huntington has managed 32. Trout working with the ball, almost lost it, and a reach-in foul on Terrell. That'll put Trout at the line for the 1-and-1. That'll be team foul number 8 for Goshen. Terrell's first. Back in is Bartlett, number 33. She comes on for Thomas.
Free throws haven't been a big factor so far in this game. Both teams playing a very clean first half, but now as we've seen that the Foresters are in the bonus, that might end up becoming what seals this game.
Front end is good from Trout. Foresters only had 3 attempts in that first half. They've had quite a few more, though, here in the second. Trout hits the front end. She'll have another. She's on the board today. Second free throw is also good. Quick inbound goes to Noel at 4:38 and counting. As that ball knocked out to Strock. Strock trying to spin on Dietrich. Back outside. Bartlett for 3. No good. Rebound Palmer. Quickly up to Osborne. The tough layup was wild. No good. And Terrell will get the board. Coach Culler calling for the team to settle there on that possession, but wanting to get Osborne on the scoreboard, I think, as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, they had a really good setup there. Again, it's not going to hurt anything for them to go after those plays, but at this point, it's probably best for them just to try to run time off the shot clock.
Osborne backed off as Eschman gets the rebound. Both of them fighting for it. Eschman worked her way out of a pretty tight triple team there and found Palmer. Off to Trout. She'll work it back to the center. Screen to Eschman. Nice entry to Dietrich. Back to Osborne. Outside. Palmer for 3. Yes!
There she goes. And I think Dietrich maybe could have taken that shot, but it was just as good of a decision for her to pass it out and find that open shooter.
92-55. Foresters looking to move to 11-3 in conference. Bartlett airballs the 3. Rebound Strock. 18 on the shot clock. Bartlett with it. Tight defense. Back out to Strock. She'll look to drive on Dietrich. Tough shot again. It misses the rim. Tipped out, and Osborne corrals it. And back with Palmer. Top of the key met by Terrell. She'll work it off to the left. Finds Dietrich. Dietrich enters into Eschman. Trying to work her way right. And a tough shot. I'm going to call that a block. No call. Back out to Trout. Palmer with 12. She will drive in. Dish to Eschman. Works it back outside. Trout for 3. No good. Off to the right. Deep rebound Palmer. And now she'll try and back it out.
Well, it works out just as well. Like I mentioned, these offensive rebounds almost as good at points as this point. Just draining this game clock and sealing the win.
Back off with Trout. Eschman provides the pick. Off to Dietrich. She'll spot up for 3. That one too strong. Eschman the board again. Back out with Palmer. Miranda will move it off left. She'll drive right to the rack. Count it, and the foul. And that freshman can go.
You get the feeling she doesn't much like sitting and waiting around for the clock to expire. I think she wants to keep going. She might be having fun out there. I'm not sure.
Fouls on Bartlett. Her first, 9th team foul. Teka back in along with McLean as Thorne and Noel head to the sidelines. Should correct myself, it's McLean. Palmer for the and one free throw. On the way, and that one swirls in, 95-55. The Foresters putting up a 40-piece on Goshen. Here's Teka across the timeline, finding Terrell. Bouncing off to Bartlett. Off to the far side now with Strock. Strock back to Terrell. Inside, but too wide for McLean, and it's out of bounds.
And just really nothing going right for this Goshen team. I think they're about ready for this game to be over.
2:14 remaining. Strock heads out. In is number 22, Fraley. And it'll be Palmer bringing it up for the Foresters. Palmer, top of the key, works it off right, hands to Trout. Trout sprinting to the left, trying to go backdoor to Dietrich. Ball fought for. It'll be a jump to the Foresters. Good awareness there by Dietrich, not to give up, and as the Goshen player looked to be going for the steal. Trout will inbound. 16 on the shot clock, right at the 2-minute mark. Trout lobs it in. Osborne finds Palmer. Palmer back off left. Looking to hand to Trout, and does. 8 on the shot clock. Eschman. She'll try and put up a 2. That one got blocked by McLean, and now Goshen working back quickly. But Trout with a nice adjustment to go get the steal.
Yeah, she's got a little bit of ups, doesn't she? Nice job jumping out there.
It almost looked like a shortstop trying to snag a liner right to him.
Absolutely.
Palmer dishes to Dietrich. Going inside. Osborne trying to work against Bartlett. Tough shot up. No good. Terrell gets the board. And it's off with Teka. She'll take her time here as we close in on 1:15 to go. And the Foresters will move to 11-3 in conference. Just trying to keep pace and have a solid lead at second there in the Crossroads League.
Yeah, and as we mentioned in our last broadcast, undefeated at home in Crossroads play.
Foul will go against Dietrich. 4th team foul. Still a 40-point lead for the Foresters at 95-55. 1:06 to play. Teka inbounds to Bartlett. Fakes the handoff. She'll try and go baseline against Osborne, but instead finds McLean. Back to Teka. 20 on the shot clock. And now it'll be Fraley directing traffic. Ball swung to Terrell. Long 2, no good. Rebound to Eschman. And the Foresters will have to take at least one shot. Not a 19-second differential between shot and game clock. Palmer guarding the ball. Will dish it off to Trout, who came up with it, almost taken by Fraley. Off to Dietrich. Trying to go inside, finds Palmer. Palmer was open, she does not take the shot. Osborne with the screen. Step back for 2 is open, no good. And the rebound to Teka quickly up to Fraley, and she fell down. She had Trout one-on-one. And that's out of bounds to the Foresters.
Yeah, and you imagine that this game will just go ahead and let B run out after this. 18.7 left. And just as we mentioned several times, an outstanding performance by these Foresters.
Palmer will bring it up.
Across.
She is across the timeline now, and the Foresters outscored Goshen 40-15 in the second half of play. Palmer just going to dribble this one out. That is your ball game. The Foresters win the pink out game 95-55 over Goshen College, and they have one more home game to go to possibly finish unbeaten in conference play in Platte Arena.
Well, they've saved the best for last. The unbeaten St. Francis, or as of yet unbeaten St. Francis team, will be coming here the next time the Foresters are at home, and that's going to be a game we're all looking forward to.
If we've seen a lot of home games, these have been building up to what I like to call the main event.
Oh, absolutely, and really, these Foresters are just getting better and better as these games are going on, and I think that it's going to be one heck of a game.
We'll take a break, be back with a post-game wrap-up, and then we'll have a special presentation for the funds raised from today's game. You're on Forester Live on YouTube and 105.5 Fuse FM.
Next, we'd like to say a big thank you to our title sponsor, BB Credit Union. We also want to thank Sodexo, who is a community sponsor for the event. We also have a few others that made special donations today: Huntington University Student Senate, Coaches Connection, and Town and Country Flowers. You inspire us with your courage and your message of hope. We're so glad that you shared this day with us. Now at this time I'd like to invite Sue Rumpel, if she would please join me on the floor for the check presentation. I don't know if she's still here or not. Sue is the branch manager of the BB Credit Union. Peja, if you would please bring me the check. After totaling gift receipts, donations, and pink popcorn sales for today's event, we're pleased to announce that we will be donating $2,014. So thank you all again for the part that each one of you played today in helping make this event another special day. At this time, we would like to invite the cheerleaders, both teams, the survivors, and any community sponsors to join us on the floor for a big group picture. Thanks, and appreciate all you coming out today.
Back inside Platte Arena, your final score 95-55. The Lady Foresters winning over the Lady Maple Leafs of Goshen in a 40-point dominating fashion, Caleb, outscoring the Maple Leafs 40-15 in that second half.
Yeah, and again, the Foresters continue to prove they're a second-half team, even after a dominating first-half performance, but really just stepped up their defense, forced turnovers like they usually do, and I think we have 5 Foresters in double-digit figures today.
Yes,
that's some serious offense, and that's the kind of offense that will allow these Foresters to have a fighting chance, I believe, in winning this Crossroads League tournament once it comes around.
28 assists today for the Foresters, Caleb. 6 coming from Hubble, 7 from Baker, and 5 from Page's Speed. And the Foresters overall shooting 56, just under 57% from the field. They shoot 71% from three-point land, 4 of 8 in the second half, and a perfect batting 1,000, 11 for 11 from the free throw line.
Yeah, that's not even surprising at this point to see that stat. The Foresters, again, as we mentioned over and over again, an incredible free throw shooting team. But this time the three-pointers, and especially coming from Kelsey Hubble, she managed that miss at the end, but nobody cares about that. She nailed those first 8 in a row, and that's what sent the Foresters skyrocketing to this victory.
8 of 9 for Hubble, 9 of 13 overall from the field, 26 points for her. She leads all scorers in this game. He had 18 from Peja, 17 from Miranda Palmer, 12 from Amelia Recker, and 10 from Courtney Baker. Also got 6 out of Jacqueline Bonema to go along with 6 rebounds today.
Yeah, I thought she had a very solid game. She does a nice job coming up. She's in the low post most of the time, but a lot of times on defense or on offense, she'll come up and help defense just at a high screen, and I thought she played a really good game today.
Both teams, and along with the breast cancer survivors, honored at halftime now gathering for a photo op. As that now breaks up, again, the Foresters put on a great showing today. Got to remember, though, Caleb, they have 3 of their last 4 on the road, and that main event home game that we talked about against St. Francis on the 19th of February.
Yeah, and really they've got a tough stretch from here on out. They've been playing extremely well, as we've mentioned several times, but now they've got a string of away games and some tough ones at that. And as we mentioned, their final home game before the Crossroads tournament starts, they'll be taking on the #1 overall team in St. Francis, still undefeated. That's going to be a good one. As we've mentioned several times, we are really looking forward to that.
And before we go, let's take a look now around the league as the Foresters get the win here today. They're now 11-3 in conference. Goshen falls to 1-12, 4-21 overall. Foresters improving to 19-6. Around the league today, we have some close ones here for you folks. It is quite the finish. Look at this game. This is the one we've been keeping our eyes on. St. Francis only leading by 1 on the road at Grace, 62-61. That's still in the second half. Also still in the second half, 56-50. Spring Arbor leading Taylor, and then one final for you, Indiana Wesleyan dominating in the second half, winning 74-47 over Mount Vernon.
Yeah, Indiana Wesleyan finally snapping that 3-game losing streak. But the one obviously we're all watching is that we keep talking up this undefeated St. Francis team, showing a little bit of blood here. They've been stricken by Grace, and that's a really close game, and we'll be interested to see how that one turns out.
You understand there's 35 seconds roughly left in that second half, so this one is coming down to the wire.
Yeah, and you wonder if it may even go into overtime, too, if these things happen. And we've seen our fair share of overtimes with these women's basketball teams in the Crossroads League. Just very competitive play, and that'll be very interesting to see how that turns out.
Again, the Lady Foresters winning by 40, 95-55 over the Maple Leafs, splitting the season series, definitely getting a measure of revenge for that loss on the road to the Maple Leafs this year.
Revenge might be an understatement, really. They completely came back and dominated, and we're very proud of the way they played. And again, the fashion in which they won, just an excellent job, and they're really showing to be a scary team right now.
Our next broadcast for you, actually, before we get to that, their next game for the Lady Foresters is on the road at Bethel, a team they beat here inside Platterian 96-55 earlier this year. They'll try and sweep the Pilots on the road in Mishawaka, Indiana, up north, just around the South Bend area. And for our next broadcast, we will bring you men's Forester basketball as they take on the Pilots, who come down from Mishawaka, a pair of 20-5 teams, both 9-4 in conference. The Foresters do have that current tiebreaker with the win over Bethel on the road, 86-84.
Everybody remembers that one, a very clutch win on the road against a very tough Bethel team. They're going to be looking for revenge. The Foresters are going to have to work hard to try to defend their home court.
Such a great event here today, the 6th annual Pink Out, a great event put on by the Huntington University Athletic Department, and such a great event in general, not just for the community, but for anyone that comes up and visits.
Yeah, and really just a great day overall. Not only just a great event, a good turnout, lots of students here, as we mentioned, but just an excellent game played by these ladies, and really just showing that they're one of the best teams in this Crossroads League.
So for our entire crew, excellent job as always today. For Caleb Overfelt and our director, Brooks Hooley, I'm Eric Mann. So long from Platte Arena. We'll see you Tuesday for men's Forester basketball. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.